Hello everybody! Hi everybody, welcome to CSS Capism. My name is Amit. Yeah, we're here to have some fun with CSS today. Today we're going to talk about making CSS games. So hi everybody, hi to guys in the chat, I can see you here. Hi to everybody that is joining us, that is seeing the recording. Yeah, so let's jump in. Well, as I said, we're going to talk about games, and I've done a lot of games in my life. I like to say that I'm playing games. I'm playing games by developing games, if it makes sense. I just want to show you just a few that I've done, like this Simon. It's a classic Simon that that it gives you a note and then you click back, and then the second time it gives you 2 notes and so on. Third time 3 notes and so on. But the nice thing, it's getting harder and more faster as time go by. But the nice thing is that you can actually set the number of colors you have, because all Simon is with 4 colors, so I wanted to try it out with 8 or like 7 or 6 or whatever. And you can also set the animation type and everything, and it's nice. This is one of the old one I've done. It's kind of a weird 2D version of a Rubik's Cube. So let's just do a random image. So you get an image. Actually don't like this image so much, never mind. And the image is getting mixed up, and you need to readjust the image by adjusting the difference, and I like it. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I like this one. It's a hexa snake that you play around. You can work it on mobile also, but when you move, when you shift it, the board moves, not the snakes. And I think it's a nice way to navigate. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, but this is obviously not the pure CSS games. There's a lot of JavaScript here. The only CSS game I really done is this Catch the Light. Let's refresh this for a second. Yeah, it's a nice game that you can actually select the speed the light is moving, and it's pure CSS. And once you click start, so the light moves, and you need to catch it right on the green spot. So when it goes, yeah, oh, I missed. Try again. We can try again, and so on. And this is pure CSS. Obviously, it's done by syncing animation and so on. But today we're going to do another CSS game, I hope, and we're going to do a maze. Yeah, just a maze that you have a starting point and ending point, and you need to navigate your way around it. And you can't really talk about CSS mazes anymore without talking about the one that Ben Evans did. If you've seen CodePen Most Hearted Pens of 2023, it just got published, so number 14, and I think it should be higher. But this is an amazing work by Ben Evans. It's pure CSS, fully 3D maze, and you can move around in it and turn around, and I spend hours in this, both in the maze and in the code, because Ben is a genius. Yeah, but today we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to do like a bit kind of a 2D maze, simpler one, because we only have an hour. But the whole concept of CSS mazes is I've been thinking about it for a very long time. And I've done this maze just over a year ago. I've saved it this January, but let's go to the details for a second. Yeah, it's from October 2022. So what I was thinking here is that this dot, this is you, this is the player, and this dot is fixed to the center of the screen, but the maze is fixed to the corner of the screen. So when you resize the screen, you actually move the dot relative to the maze, so that way you can actually navigate yourself inside of this maze. And I'm using actually media queries to know when you lost and when you hit a wall and so on. And it's so hacky that I never actually published it. I just let it be. And then about a few weeks ago, I rethought about it, and I said, okay, we can actually do it now with container queries. and I got this maze. This is actually closer to what we're going to do today. So it's just like a square that you can navigate inside this maze, and when you run over the wall, it becomes red, so you need to navigate out, obviously. And it's all being done using, forget about it, using container queries. And again, a lot of loops, a lot of math, and it's way too difficult. So today we're going to do something much simpler, but still working and still looks great, I think. Yeah, hi Roland. Hi Kevin. Kevin is here. Hi Kevin. Thank you for making it. Yeah, I'm just gonna close all the games that I've shown. Yeah, Ben's a genius. Yeah, let's leave this open. But okay, so let's actually start with the code. And oh, I have a to-do list. We're building a maze, so I have a to-do list, and this is what we're going to do today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to build the visual layout. We're going to build a grid with the walls, the target, the starting point, the ending point, and we have something that looks like a maze. We're going to start making it very simple, like solid colors, but something that looks like a maze. After that, we're going to talk about wall detection, and not just wall detection, because I want, when I hit a wall, I want the state, I want to build something like a state management. It's not really state management, but it's kind of. Wait. Yeah, okay. Because, and then I need to reset this management, this state. I need to reset it after I'm resetting to the starting point. After that, we're going to add some text, because I want to add some feedback to the player when he hits a wall, and I want to add an instruction screen to the start, like I added here. A simple instruction screen. Yep. And where's the to-do list? The to-do list. Yep. And then, okay, the success. Obviously, when you get your target goal, I want to give the player an announcement, and I want to play a sound. Yes, we're going to play a sound with Kevin. I was going to record 10 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. I ruined your plan, Kevin. Where was I? Okay, and at the success, we're gonna play sound once you hit the target goal, and then the final, after we're gonna have a working maze. We're gonna make it pretty. We're gonna add some background images, play around with the cursor. We're gonna make things round with radius borders. We're gonna get to it. So let's start, and we're gonna start with the visual layout. And right now we're in CodePen. Actually, let's make it a bit bigger. All I have is a container. Let's make it a maze container. Whoops. And in the CSS, I have a very simple reset. The body is just I'm changing the color, and I'm setting everything in the center. Nothing really special around here. I'm not going to use perspective today, not going to do any 3D stuff. And the maze container, so I want it to be responsive, and I'm going to cheat a little. It's not the best way, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it first an aspect ratio of 1, so it's always gonna be a square, and the width I'm gonna do it like 90 vmin. So now it's always a square and it's always in the middle. You should probably use clamp or something, but for this game, it's gonna be okay. And if we want to do something that is relative to the container, we can use the vmin units. Yeah, it started to rain. I hope the internet connection is gonna be fine. Yeah, one more thing. I'm gonna make this position relative, because I'm gonna make things position absolute relative to this container. So this is the container, and we said that inside the container we need to build a grid, a layout of some sort. So let's build inside of this. We'll create a tiles, and the number of tiles, each tile would be like a spot that you can, it's either a wall or a path. So let's start with a simple grid of, let's say, 6 by 6. So I'm going to create an I element, but we're going to build it as a grid. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to create 6 lines. Okay. So now we can't see it, obviously. Let's go to the tiles, and we're gonna do the tiles is gonna be position absolute. We're gonna give it an inset 0, so it would be at the same size of the container all the time. We're gonna give it a display grid, as I said, and we're gonna say that the grid template columns, we're gonna do a simple repeat of, we said this grid is a 6 by 6 grid, okay? So it's a 6 of 1FR. So actually, now if we're gonna, let's save it. If we do an inspect on the grid, you can actually see, okay, so you can actually see the grid that I'm talking about, and each one of these squares can be either a wall or a path that you can move through it, okay? And later on we'll make the grid obviously bigger with more tiles, but this is just for the basic. So let's, inside of these tiles, let's do an eye. We need to give it a width because it's not a regular one. Let's give it a background color so we can see it. This is obviously all the background colors, but instead of background color, let's add a hover, and on the hover, let's do an outline. 2 pixels, solid red. So now you can actually see me hovering over each one of these eyes. Okay, this is the grid that we're gonna work with, but some of these squares needs to be walls, as I said. So the easiest way to do it, you can do like a class or something to each one of these eyes. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a different element. So I'm going to do a W because walls, it's a W. So let's make 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to need this one here. So now you can see that only the eyes are hoovers. So now I need to change this to, let's change it to star for now. And we say that just the W, let's give it a background color. Let's give it a hot pink. Okay, so now you can actually see me when I hover each one of these elements, these grid elements, and each W element, it's pink, it's a wall, and each I element, it's going to be a path. So I can actually now create like this kind of a maze, each element that I'm turning it into a W, so it's now a wall. So I can actually create like something like this, and I have this kind of a path that you need to go through. But this is obviously very simple. I actually made in advance a bigger layout. So just bear with me a second. I'm gonna copy it from here. Yeah. So this is the bigger layout. It's the same concept, but it's instead of 6, it's 12 pieces long. Okay, so now I have this kind of a maze, and I have a starting point. Let's say the starting point is in this point, and the ending point is at that point, so I can need to move my cursor this path. Okay, so actually let's close these tiles, and let's create 2 targets. One target is gonna be target start, and the second one is gonna be target end, obviously. Okay, actually let's put the end before the start. You're gonna see why in a second. So let's go to the CSS. Let's build this target. Just a second. Okay, so there also needs to be obviously position absolute. Let's give them a width of, let's say 5%, because it's 12, so 5% sounds, each one is a 6.25, so 5% is a bit less than that. Aspect ratio of 1, so it would be square, and the background color, let's give it a variable of color. Let's give it a default. So now we have these 2 targets right here in the top. So we can say that the start, first let's set the color, let's make it Dodger blue, and we're gonna say that the left is 85%, top 85%. So, oh, this needs to be underscore, sorry. Yeah, so this is the start, it's here, And the end, let's give it a color of, let's say, lime green. And let's say it's, so it's 100 minus 85 minus 5, it's 10. So it's in the other position. Yeah, so now we have something that looks like a maze. I hope you agree with me. We can actually get rid of this hoover. We don't need it anymore. Yeah, we have something that looks very basically like a maze. So I think we're gonna set this visual layout as checked. And now let's talk about wall detection. So it's the simple way is if I'm hovering the cursor over one of those walls, I can see it. So I can come to the maze container, and I can use this beautiful selector called has that is now fully supported. Thank God. And I can say that if it has a W, it's a wall that is hovered. So if it has a W that is hovered, let's just change the background color to red for now, okay? So yeah, you can already see that when I'm on the path, no problem, but the second I'm on the wall, yep, I have a red background. That is great. But I want to reset the maze. I want the background to stay red, even though I'm here, until I'm getting all the way back to the starting point. This is the concept. So how do I do that? How do I keep the state of the background color if I'm triggering it by hover? So here's the thing. What we're going to do is actually going to use animation. I'm going to give the maze container an animation. Let's call it a maze because it's the maze. And this animation is going to be very short, so very short. So let's say 1 millisecond, and we're going to add forwards because I want that in the end of the animation, I want the value to stay on the last frame. So, and the last thing, of course, I'm going to add is paused. Oops, paused because I actually don't want the animation to run at start. So let's create these keyframes of the maze. And what I'm going to do in the keyframes, I'm going to say to background color red. Okay. So now, obviously, nothing has changed. I don't need it here. But now come on, refresh. Yeah. Okay. So nothing is changing now. Okay, because nothing is moving. But now I can trigger this animation on the hover. I can say that the animation play state is running. So now, yeah, okay, let's, how do I do that? Actually, let's, wait. Refresh, okay. So, yeah, so when I'm on the path, there's no problem, but the second I'm going over the wall, everything is red, and it's staying red because it's running as the animation, no matter what I'm going to do. Okay. This is one state. Now I need to reset it back. I want it to reset it once I'm going over the starting point. Again, no problem. It's going to be very pretty much the same thing. I'm going to say that if it has target start, right? This is how we call it, the target start, right? Hover. So if the cursor is over the target start, I'm going to say the animation is none. So once the animation is done, there is no animation and the background is back to transparent. So now when I'm on the starting point, it's like this, and I can move through the maze, and the second I hit one of the walls, it's turning red, and it's keeping it going to remain red until I get back to the starting point. Okay, that's nice. Any questions about wall detection, by the way, from the people in the chat? Yeah, so this is the very basic way we can manage state. We can animate, it can be a background color or a custom property or whatever we want, and then we need to reset the state by setting the animation to none. So again, let's go to the to-do list, and I think this is checked. Now we need to add a text, because when you hit a wall, I want to tell you that you hit a wall and go to the initial square, to the starting point to reset. So how do we do it? We're actually going to add the text right here, and this is why I put the end before the start, because I want the text to cover the end target, but I don't want it to cover the start target. So let's add a text here, and I've made a text because I don't trust my English right now. Yeah. Okay. So this is the text. Oops, you hit a wall. Move the cursor to the blue square to reset the maze. Okay. Sounds great. Where is this text? We don't see. We don't see it because it's actually right now beneath the tiles. So let's come here. Let's say the text is position absolute. This is not what I wanted. Position absolute. Inset of 0. Again, the same concept. I want the text to be on the whole size. Okay, we can already see it. Let's change first the font. And if you don't know, CodePen has great assets. They have fonts. Let's use Railway. Let's copy the import. Oops. And let's copy the font family. Put it in on the body. Yeah, okay. Now I have a font. Yeah, now I have a font. And I want to change the size of the font. So let's change the font size. And I want it to be relative to the container. And I said if I want something to be relative to the container, we can use vmin. So let's make it 4 vmin, maybe 5. 5. Let's add a small padding. Okay, let's add the background color because we want it to cover the maze. Let's make it a maroon. Maroon. Yeah, okay. So now I have a message that is, oops, you hit a wall, but I want this message obviously to appear only when I'm actually hitting a wall. So how do I do that? I'm actually going to set the opacity. So I can do it with 2 ways. The easiest way is to set a display. Let's set a display and var text display or none. Okay. So now it's obviously none. Yeah. Okay. So we don't see it, but we can set this this variable right here in the animation. Where we set to background red, we can set it, the text display, to block. We don't need a background red anymore. So now here, when I go over one of the walls, I see it, and when I reset, it's disappearing. That is great, but I wanted to add a small fade later on. So instead of display, we're actually going to use opacity. But here's the thing. We can't use just opacity. We need to, if we change the opacity, we need to move the pointer event. So I'm going to add a pointer. So when it runs, the opacity needs to be 1 and the pointers need to be all. Okay. And here, so the opacity, it's, text opacity or 0, and the pointer events, so let's make it a var of text pointer or none. And now I can actually add a transition on the opacity. This is the reason I've done the whole thing. I can add a small transition. Let's do like 300 milliseconds. Yeah, okay, now we have a nice, actually even too much, maybe 200. Okay, you can play around with it, obviously, later on. We can play around with it. Okay, so now I have a text, but I want to add one more text. I want to add something in the beginning. When the maze starts, I want to add like an instruction screen. So what we're gonna do, we actually add another text element. So this text is gonna be text, let's say, hit a wall, H-A-W, it's hit a wall. Okay, and we're gonna add another text here, that this one is gonna be the text start. Okay, and so I prepared this one as well. I'm gonna copy it, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I have a CSS maze with the small instructions. And yeah, so right now you can't see it because it's one on top of the other, obviously. So let's, so this is just the text. I need to separate them. So I'm gonna say that the end hit a wall. So this whole thing only belongs to this one. Yeah, okay, and the CSS maze, this is the starting screen, okay, and the wall, okay, and now it doesn't work because the CSS maze, the starting screen is on, and it's getting all the hover, all the pointer events. So let's get and start, yep. First, let's give it a background color, something dark, like this. Okay, and what we need to do is actually get rid of this when we hover this the starting point. But we're not going to do it the same thing we're going to do we've done with this, because we only need to do it once, and that's it. We don't need to reset it. So how do we do it? We actually going to add an animation, a specific animation to this element, to the start. So add an animation. We're going to call it text out, because the text is going to be out. And again, it's going to be very fast, 1 millisecond, forwards. We're going to use pretty much the same trick. And paused. Great. So now we can actually, let's first create the keyframes for this. Keyframes for text out, and it's just oops, and it's just to let's make this one just display none. It's gonna be easier. And again, if you want to set it, you can just change the opacity and the background and the pointer events. Maybe we'll do it. So now all we need to do is trigger this animation when you hover over this starting point. So let's go. When it has a target start hover, so we're gonna say that the text start, animation play state running. That's gonna copy it from here. Okay. And if I haven't forgotten anything, so this is the starting point, and the second I'm hovering over the starting the starting point, the starting screen disappears, and now I can navigate through the maze. And when I hover over a wall, I see hoops, and yeah. So that's okay. Now I have a text both in the beginning and in the middle. Where's the to-do list? Oh, I'm moving all the way through the to-do list. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so now, success. Now we need to do something when we get over the, I'm going to do it a lot of times today. Okay, so there is a way to cheat. If you want to know it, what you need to do is right-click, and then in the right-click, just move to wherever you want, and right-click again, and left-click. But you can't. You can obviously. Thanks. You can obviously use some JavaScript to prevent the right-click, the context menu. I'm not going to do it today because who cares? It's just a fun CSS game. Okay, so we need to do something when you hover over it. So let's add a text. And the text, so we're going to do another text. Oops. And this text is going to be win. Success, or whatever you want to call it. Let's call it end, because it's the end. No, let's call it win. More positive. Let's call it win. So the text win, let's write you did it. and that's it. Obviously, we can add like animations and everything we want in the end. I don't think that I'm gonna go there today. So this is the text wing. You can see you did it. Yeah, okay. What we need to do right now, let's go to the text. Win. So the win, let's say the background color is I don't know, green. Yeah, okay. Let's change the font size. Wait a minute. Let's do a text align center. Font size much bigger, like 12 vmin. Let's change the font weight to bold. You want. You need to be bold. Anything else? No, I think it's okay. So now what we need to do is obviously the same thing that we've done here in the start, only backwards. So let's copy this whole thing. And we're gonna call it this animation text in, and the text in is gonna do the display to block. So that's mean that we're gonna need to add a display none in the beginning. Okay, that looks great. Why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? It's with display none. Did I put it over the... No. The fun parts about live coding. I'm not sure the CodePen is refreshing. Oh, it's not working now. Why isn't it working? I have something that is blocking it, but I'm not sure what's blocking the... This is the target start. Let's remove all the texts for now. Yeah, so this one is working. You know what? Let's yeah, this one is not working. Maybe the... Did I change the... Oh, I know what the problem... Yeah, I know what the problem... This... Yeah. So I had this double name in the frames, in the keyframes. Sorry. Yeah, okay, now we're back. I have an opening screen. When I hover over the starting point, I'm getting the maze. I can navigate. If I hit the wall, I'm getting this wall. And now I can actually, I can go here. And when I hover over it, okay, now I need to trigger this animation that we built. I need to trigger it when I hover over this success. So no problem. Let's just go. Let's close this. Let's close this. Let's go here and I'm gonna say that if it has target win hover. So when you hover over the target win, what we need to do is text. Let's copy this one. Text win. Yeah, did I call it text win? Oh, yeah, the target is the target end, right? Yeah. Okay, so now let's just check it. No, what did I miss? Text win. Okay, so this works. Why doesn't the anime? What did I miss something? Anybody in there? I told you if you get stuck, check the chat. Anybody saw my mistake in the chat? So what I'm missing here is I want it. Yeah, so this is going on, but the text win. It's not the text win. Oh, I know. No, I don't. Maybe it does getting display block, but I don't see it. This is the text win. No, I don't see it. Let's check. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna change this from the display. Let's change it because I think the display is doing a problem. I'm guessing. So let's say that the opacity is 0 and the pointer events none. So now we're gonna set this to opacity 1. Will that do anything? Yeah, okay. There is sometimes the problem animating displays. I don't know exactly why, what exactly is happening here, but we're going to do it like that. So we're going to change also the pointer events to all. And okay, and now, so now when I go and win, I got, you did it. That's great. I need to reset it once I go to the center, to the starting point. Okay, so let's go to the, oops, where is the starting point? Here, when I hover over this this target, start target. So this needs to be, actually it needs to be animation, none. Refresh, let's save it. Yeah, okay, but I want to add sound. When I go inside this, when I reach the end point, I want to add sound. I actually add an asset right here. Do you hear it? Let's close the background music for a second so I can make this volume a bit higher. You heard this one. Okay, let's put the music back on. Okay, so let's copy this URL. And how do I play sounds with CSS? So there's a few ways to do it. I'm gonna use the very basic embed. So right here inside of this win text, I'm gonna add an embed. Embed is an element that get a source. So now you can actually see it and hear it. And if I go here, so you can actually see this is the element, this is the embed element. Okay, so what we want to do is actually let's go It's inside of this wing, right? So here, let's say that the embed, first let's change its visibility to hidden, so we won't see it, but we will still hear it. So let's set the display to none, and now we won't hear it. Yeah, great. But actually, instead of none, let's change it to a var embed display or none. So now we can actually take this variable and set it inside of this element, and we'll set it to block. Yeah, so now, if I haven't forgot anything, yeah, we can actually navigate through the maze, and I'm gonna navigate all the way. And when we get to the endpoint, we did it. We have kind of a working, it's a working maze. And of course you can take it, and please do take it and, you know, build this layout, this styles layout, make it your own and make it bigger or smaller or harder or whatever you want, and send it to me, and I will promise to try and solve it. So wait, where's our to-do list? Yeah, we've done the success. We added an announcement and we added some music. Now let's make it a bit more prettier, and we're going to talk about making it ground and things. So actually, let's start with the walls. The walls, these pink walls. Oh, actually, before the walls, let's do. I have in the starting screen, I have a blue. Yeah, I have, so the blue is color Dodger blue, obviously. And I also have a red one. And I also have a pink one. Let's make it a hot pink. Oh, and I do have a green one. So let's make it lime green. We can close this, right? Yeah, okay, it's bigger. Already looks better. Yeah, okay, so now let's talk about the walls. We're gonna keep this background color as a steady color, but I want to make this spiky pattern. And you could do a lot of patterns, obviously, using background image. I'm gonna do like a basic one, kind of a basic one. So let's go here to the tiles. Yeah, here to the tiles, and each one of these W's. Wait a minute. Why is it closed? Yeah, okay. So here in this W, so each one of these W is obviously a wall. So let's add a background image, and I'm gonna do a couple. So yeah. So let's do a conic gradient. I love conic gradients. If you haven't worked with them, work. So let's start from one corner, from the top left corner. So it's from minus 45 degrees, and I'm gonna do a very basic like white with some opacity. So this is like the top part of the square. So it's from 0 to 90 degrees. We actually don't need that 0. Then we're going to do something like on the side. So it's going to be a bit darker. So it's, let's say FF2. And then that's going to be all the way to 180 degrees. And then the bottom side. So the bottom side needs to be a bit darker. So let's make it black. Let's say black 4, all the way to 270 degrees. And the last thing, it's the left side, so let's do it black but with a higher opacity, so that's going to be 0 because it's going to be all the way to the end. Yeah, okay. So, oh yeah, okay, we haven't seen the walls up until now, so it looks like this. So I have a conic gradient for each one. Each one of those squares is an element, so you can do whatever you want with it, with with background image. So I did like a simple conic, so you can actually see it. I can't hover my mouse over one of them, obviously. Maybe like this, yeah. So the top side, this top side is the white. This is the white 4. This is the left side. This is the white with a higher opacity, so it's a bit darker. And this is the bottom side. This is 0.4, so it's darker, but just with some opacity. And this is a bit lighter. So this is one thing. We can actually add. We can change the background size. So we make it smaller, right? Yeah, looks better. But what I want to add is a linear gradient, and the linear gradient is going to start with very mild black in one side. We're going to do a transparent, and again black on the other side. So it would give us like there's like a separation between them. Maybe let's do it like 25%. It's 25% and 75%. Yeah, it looks better. And we actually need to add another one of those, but for 90 degrees. Yeah, okay. So now it looks, we have spikes. And we want to add a cursor. Oh, we talked about cursor. So it's you can use custom cursor if you have like an SVG or something. I'm gonna use a simple, one of the ones that we have available. So let's check the cursor. Let's change the cursor. Thank you. You can change it to move. Maybe that's gonna be very. Yeah, that's kind of on the point. Maybe we can try crosshair. I think crosshair is gonna be better. Yeah, okay. But now when I hover over one of those walls, that's not good. What I can do is I can go to the text and hit a wall text, and we can change the cursor to not allowed. So now, yeah, so now when I hit a wall, yeah, the cursor changed to not allowed, and I need to move back to the starting point. Okay, already looks better. And again, you obviously can use one of those. You can use just any JPEG or any PNG as a cursor. So if you are doing your own maze, create your own cursor. And there was one more thing that I wanted to do, a couple of more things, I think. Border radius. Oh yeah, okay, that's nice. So right now this maze is very square, obviously. What we can do is add a border radius. So we can add a border radius to each one of those elements, but I don't want to. Let's go back to this grid. Yeah. So this square right here on the right on the left of my cursor, excuse me. So this, I want to make this corner round. Okay, this here. So how do I do it? I can actually go to this element, and this is, I think it's this element right here, and we're gonna give it a property. So let's say a radius of this is the top right. Okay, you can use radii. You can use the whole word, but RTR, I think it's okay for us because I don't want to change a lot of the HTML of the markup itself. So we can go here to the W. Where is the W? This W, and we're gonna say that this one gonna have a border radius. So it's the top right, so it's the 0, 50%, 0, 0, or something like that. And now, yeah, it's round. And it also, the hover detection already works because the hover detection actually works on border radius. So this is one. I can make, let's make this one radius of bottom left. Okay, so I'm gonna say and RBL Yep. And yeah, and obviously you can add any property to any one of those W's, to any one of those walls, and make it a different color, make it have it move, have it whatever you want, or you can make like a very round kind of animation of a maze. Sorry. Thank you. Hi everybody. Oh, I see there's a lot of people in the chat. Is there any questions, by the way? I don't think I missed anything. Yeah, so that is a fully operating maze. You can adjust it. Please do, as I said earlier, take this code and make your own maze and share it with me, please. I love seeing it. And yeah, and I think and I think that's it. I'm gonna share obviously all the links and everything. I'm gonna share this link right here. Yeah. Oops. No. Right here in the chat, so you can actually see it now live, but I'm going to publish it obviously later on. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions in the chat, I'm still in the chat, and if not, I'm in Twitter or in my website or wherever. Thank you guys for being with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new, and I hope I'll see you next time. Yep, bye for now.